You got to have something at the beginning for the thumbnail. I want to show y'all this. I am so excited. I started some seeds. We know I've been looking for a job. Which, side note, looking for a job in this economy and market is rough. And I have so many people who are just sending me places to look at instead of using their contacts. It is the most frustrating thing in the world. But I wanted to show y'all this, okay? I had started growing some seeds. And y'all see that? Let's go like this. You see that? These are my sunflowers. These are my sunflowers. Those are my tomatoes. And the bell peppers are shy. They real shy. So they ain't came up yet, but look at this. I'm growing them in these Epic Garden seed cell trays. I don't think the link is in my bio, but it will be eventually. But they are dope. And I'm hoping to get a nice, solid root mass growing before I transplant them outside. These are like 3 inches deep. And I used the other ones, which are like 2 inches. But these are not as wide as the other ones. So they're deeper, they're wider. I'll be able to get a good root system going. But I wanted to repot some plants. I should have cut the lights on before I got up here. I wanted to repot some plants and just have a quick Q&A. This is your time to ask me, a plant biologist, any questions you got. Questions, comments, concerns. I talk about science. I talk about blackness. I talk about horticulture, gardening, some history of plants. Pretty much if I know it, I'll talk about it. And if I don't know it, I'll say I don't. I'm going to be up here until like 5:30. So this is your opportunity to say, let me ask a scientist that be doing the stuff, the questions. Because how many of y'all get an opportunity to talk to a plant scientist? How many of y'all can say that you have ever talked to a plant biologist? I'm just sending this out to a couple of people to make sure we get some good conversate going, you know, because I'm live and I'm here, you know, talking to the people. There we go. Sent this to like 20 people, really 40. So we're going to see what happens. But the plants I'm going to be doing today is going to be really dope. Hey there, Birchley. Congratulations again on the organic chemistry. So let's see. Oh, this is way taller than I thought it was going to be. So y'all tell me how y'all day's been going while I pretend like I already had this stuff set up. There we go. There we go. We're going to edit this out. Never, though, but we're going to pretend like we edit this out. So the first plant I'm going to talk about. Hey, Kennedy! The first plant I'm going to talk about is, this is further away than I thought it was going to be. I thought y'all were going to be closer. I should have actually seen how this was going to look before I jumped on the live, but I was like, let me go ahead and do this because I've been delaying doing this for a couple of hours. There we go. There we go. You're finally graduating. Congrats! Go on with your bad self. So the plant that I'm going to be repotting today, 2 of them. One of them is this. Anybody take a wild guess what this beauty is? You see these aerial roots. It is alternate leaves. Leaves are on opposite sides of every other news. You have exciting news. You're finally graduating. I'm misreading all this stuff out of order. Congrats again. This is aerial roots. It's beautiful. It is an orchid. It's a special orchid, special to me. What is this? Take a guess at any orchid, specifically an orchid a lot of you have run into before, just not like this. Not like this beauty. I've had this now for a year. This is maybe a foot of good growth. I'm sure y'all are going to say it. This is a vanilla. This is vanilla planifolia. Kennedy said it right as I typed it. This is vanilla planifolia. And this is a beautiful baby. It's been growing in this media, like barely any roots. And the media is very giving, like chunky, if I can do this without spilling it. Very chunky roots. I have been meaning to repot this thing for a while. Because of why? Again, it's barely got a decent root system, and it's been growing in this pot. So what am I going to do? I have this beautiful mix here in front of me that I use for a lot of my different plants. I wish I had something to make it more chunky, but I would have to get up to do that. And I'm not going to get up any more than I had to right now. So we're just going to use this mix that we have. It is a little loose. It's not going to be as chunky as this baby, but it is what it is. And there's no such thing as cheating when you're a plant scientist. She's cheating. You're not cheating. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some napkin. Hey there, Ann. I'm going to put a napkin at the bottom of this because I don't want the soil to go through. We know I do that. And I'm going to get this beautiful baby here. You see how it's dangling? Imagine waking up to this dangling in front of your face. I'm going to take it. And again, it's barely got like a developed root system. So it's amazing it's done all of this. And I'm just going to put it into this pot. I want to make sure I cover all of the root mass without submerging the green growth because I don't want to, and I should have watered this all before I did this so it wasn't so powdery, but I don't want to bury too much green growth. The last thing I'm going to do, because I did this real quick because we're not up here for long, I'm going to wrap this vine around this here trellis, and I'm going to try to anchor it in the center with this zip tie because these are plants that like to grow up. And this is a gorgeous orchid, and he took off, I didn't take off the apical meristem, I just took off a leaf. It was just that easy. And then I'm just going to water it in. Oh, I don't have the cup beside. I do. I'm just going to water it in. And since this is so bone dry, I'm just going to water it here. This water is brown because it is containing some nutrition and some microbes in order to help the plants out. Hey, Orchid, Kennedy says she gives you her love. Hey there, Deja. It's like all of you are coming in that I tagged. So this is my beautiful orchid. Again, I'm doing some repotting because I just need to touch the soil and touch the plants. When I'm going through depression and frustration sometimes, whether it's with the world or with myself or some combination thereof, it is sometimes so important for me to come to a place of peace. And I do a lot of prayer. I be saying with Jesus and them. There's some other stuff I do that I won't say up here. But caught you right after work. Look at me. There's some other things I do I won't say up here for various reasons. But sometimes playing in the dirt and taking care of my plants can bring me some joy. Especially again in this tumultuous job market where it just feels like nobody wants me. And it's just me being transparent. Touching these plants can remind me that they do. Because look at how much this has grown for me. This has grown for me so beautifully. So for all of you who are going through this rough job market where you are trying to apply to jobs and you're getting instantly denied or ghosted, I want you to remember from me and this orchid that you are worthy and that you are worth something. Me and the orchid said that. And why would this orchid lie to you? Why would this vanilla orchid lie to you and tell you you're not worth it? It has no reason to do it. You don't live in its house. It lives in my house. Let's see if I can get this a little more moist. Hey there, Camille. You should make yourself a theme song if you're still here. Take the Millie by Lil Wayne, but just replace your name. Camille. I think that can work. Hugging trees helps me in times of trouble. They help me too. They help me too. So I'm gonna wet this up a little bit. Again, this is y'all time to ask me questions. We can talk anything. I started some seeds. I showed those at the top. Ooh, this is real. You know what? I know why this is real dusty. So this soil, I'm gonna have a video that I'll post about it soon. I didn't post it yet. I was trying to, be a little sly with my soils. And I said, because I was going through an issue with fungus gnats, I was like, you know what I ought to do? I ought to get some dipel dust, which is just Bacillus thuringiensis, BT, and mix it into my soil. or diatomaceous earth, I should say, and mix it into my soil. And I grabbed what I thought was diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is ground up diatoms, ground up like little shells of diatoms. And I mixed it into the soil before I realized it was dipel dust. And because I forgot what dipel was, I thought I was just going to have to use this with house plants only and be real careful because you don't want to feed certain plants that you are using for food any pesticides. But it's just diatomaceous. It's just dipel dust, which is BT, which is harmless. Hey, I am Herbalaria. So I'm going to repot my last plant here. And again, this is y'all's opportunity to ask me questions. I may start going live on Friday nights. I probably should wait till later, but I'm sitting around doing much of nothing all day. Outside, I'll probably do a lot of jobs and do a lot of other stuff. So these will be up here, and they'll be short, so y'all can go through them. They'll be on the YouTube, so you can go to the YouTube and play it in the background. I'm going to be repotting this baby. Now, before I left for the Northwest Flower and Garden Show, I did a cut on this philodendron. It was growing pretty much right up where my lights are. I don't think I posted that video yet either. And I did a cut. The aerial roots were pretty much like little nubs. Before I had left, they had grew like an inch when I got back. And this is now 2 weeks. And they are 2 inches, like 3 inches really. Look at how beautiful they are. This is, and really, I could even cut this right here and get 2 separate plants because these little nodules had also started growing. So I can get 2 plants out of this. I don't know if I should. Y'all let me know what y'all think, and I'm going to repot this. And I might as well just use this pot right here. My spider plants need nutrients, but I'm new to spider plants. What do you recommend? She likes more frequent than normal watering. So spider plants, I cannot remember what family they are. I want to say the asparagus family, but I might be making that up. Spider plants are plants that don't like to be like super dry. They do like a nice, relatively moist soil. So when you are doing any fertilization in my book, what I tell you is, typically what I tell people is get what works and what you can afford, right? Now, if you go to the link in my bio, you can buy stuff from Arbor and Impello. I love their fertilizers, but some of us don't have the finances to buy these fertilizers, even though Arbor is a concentrate, a whole concentrate. So with that being said, what I typically tell people again is to get what you can afford, right? So if you got to get your blue box of miracle powder, right? We know who I'm talking about because they don't sponsor me, so I'm not going to say their name directly right now. Then you get that. If you get, look at me remembering, if you have to get something else, you can get it. Typically, I tell people, again, whatever you can afford. Hey, Storm. So I use Arbor, which is a concentrate. I also use Miracle Grow. I have slow release fertilizers from Espoma. Even though I just said I wouldn't say Miracle Grow name and then I said it. I have slow release fertilizers from Espoma and other people. I have bat guano and seagull guano I've gotten from different places. But the different things I say is when you are fertilizing your houseplants, you may want to go either the box's directions as how to dilute it, because your houseplants in most cases are not going to be growing and needing as much nutrition as when they're outdoors or in nature, which is outdoors or in a greenhouse setting. And I also say when you're doing the spider plants, you want to, in your watering frequency, you want to also like alternate, maybe like fertilize once, fertilize twice, rinse out 3 times, because you want to avoid salts building up in the soil. You don't want that to happen. So the thing I tell people is get what fertilizers you can afford. I love Arbor. There's a link in my bio. If you type Arbor on one of my comments in one of my posts, you could typically get a link to that, but you just go to the link in my bio and you'll see how to apply for that. So I hope I answered your question. Now, somebody says they use rice washing. Rice washing is starch, but that it has no nutrition. When you're ready up, when you're up and ready and need help with my plant babies, send me a text, Deja. I'll be in your neck of the woods and free on Sunday, maybe after church. Just hit me a text. Rice washing doesn't add any type of nutrition to your soil because that's just starch. And that starch is good for your microbiome, like the fungi and like nutrients that are just in the soil, but that's not good for your soil. That doesn't benefit your soil. So again, this is a philodendron. And I propagated this before I left for Seattle, like literally the night before. Came back and it's got these beautiful roots. Now I asked y'all earlier, should I cut this right here? Like right there and get 2 of these, or y'all think I should just leave it be and have the one? What y'all think? I'm just gonna put it in this little pot. If I do put them together, I still put them together in this little pot until they grow separately. I'll just separate the roots later. So what are y'all thinking I should do? Gimme. If I get enough of these, I can have the one. Okay, we gotta have the one. There's only 2 of y'all here. You know what I wish I could do? Split so you can get... I think you got some selfish intentions going on. Let me see if I got a pair of scissors near me. I should have thought about that. 3 leaves is good luck. I should have thought about that before I had asked y'all what I should do. So let's let y'all follow me real quick. Because I'm going to get my scissors. I know where they are. Because the scissors are near the mother plant. So, speaking of giving away plants, I had been growing the mother. I think I got her in Atlanta, maybe. So this is the mama. Hey, Planthropology Pod. And you can see where I made the cut right here. This is the mama. I wish I could like sit this. There we go. Let's sit that like that. Boom. There we go. I was like, why is this still zoomed in? And this is somebody's philodendron. I don't remember the name of it. But you see it pretty much grows in this upright habit. And I made a cut right there because it was touching my lights here. So now I got my scissors. Is that Tommy Pickles? I can't remember where I got Tommy from, but yes, it is Tommy Pickles. I don't know if I bought that somewhere, but somebody sent me this gnome. I have troll dolls because I loved them as a child. These are my baby shoes. I love owls. My friend who passed away some years ago, she was a great artist and she drew this picture. So this is one of the things I have to remember her by. An award I got from my church. My old badge when I was making the money. Oh, I was making the money. Okay, so let's get out of here because we're not talking about that. We're going to cut this plant because Deja was like, Derek, I want a piece of that one. And who am I to say no? Why not? So we'll get it grown, and then once we get some big enough propagations, we'll see. So let's put this back up. Okay, y'all ready? So, ooh, y'all like that angle. There we go. So this plant has been growing for about 2 weeks. I got these beautiful Hilton Carter shears I bought some time ago, back when I was going to the Target. And I've made now a cut. These nodes have already started growing a little bit. These nodes have already started growing a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put them and these that are super grown in the soil. Now, most people have asked me, like, when they're propagating, when should they put them in the soil? Some people start in soil, but I feel like I'm about to sneeze. But what I typically do is water because it just works for me. Unless it's succulents, then I just don't do much with them. But I typically wait until I get about this many a length of root, where it's a couple of inches. Because the more inches you have, the more fun you have, right? Anywho, we're going to go ahead and pot this up. This is a soil mix that I use for a lot of my different houseplants. I've already wetted it up, and this was a very lightly diluted fertilizer mix I used. And I'm just going to put these two together. Some of you may be like, why would you put them together? They're not going to require much water right now. Or I should say, compared to the leaf amount to how much they're letting out, it'll just be better to keep them together. And why do I say that? These leaves are going to be letting out water vapor. So Transpiration is taking water from the root like a highway. Any of you been on the interstate or a highway before? The water is going from the root and getting off on a bypass to go into the city. And the city is the leaves, where eventually they go out into the air, right? And then the cycle just continues over and over and over again. I missed the spill. You know how my service is in the country. Lord, not you in the country. But you just had to catch up because I don't know what you missed. But because these are, again, less roots compared to how much leaf area they have. Some people will cut the leaves in half. I don't really do that. I've tried it before. And I had bad luck with it. My area used to be a little rough. My skill set used to be a little rough. So I don't do that no more. So I just leave these big, beautiful roots up here because I feel like if they're going to go through shock, then it's kind of like survival of the fittest. We'll see what happens. I gave it a little bit of water, and I'm waiting to see the water come through the bottom. And that's pretty much all I had to repot today. I thought this was going to take a lot longer, and it didn't. I'm just going to push this soil down a little bit because I want this soil to kind of spread out. And I'm going to let these sit for a while. Hey, everybody. I'm going to let these sit for a while. Again, y'all missed me repotting. I repotted this, which was some type of philodendron. I can't remember which one. I love these long leaves, though. I split this in two. And I just repotted my beautiful orchid. And like we said at the beginning, me and my orchid tell you, if you're having trouble in this world right now, you are more than welcome to continue growing. Because sometimes we need trouble to make us grow, which I hate. God knows I do. But this beautiful orchid, this is Vanilla Planifolia. Beautiful orchid. This is also a Q&A, so you can ask me your questions. Since there's a couple of y'all up here, I said 5:30. Since a couple of y'all just joined, I may stay on for another 5 minutes. Y'all ask me your questions. I'm going to just talk about this real quick. This is my philodendron squaniferum I did a cutting of. I had it sitting in this very rough-looking mix, and it didn't really do anything, so I'm going to set it in this water here and let it go on and be great. What's another thing I could propagate real quick? Y'all want to check on some of my plants growing in one of my mini greenhouses? I have a philodendron strawberry shake. Do y'all want to see that? If you do, you got to type something, whether you're seeing this now or in the future. If you want to see my philodendron strawberry shake and some of my other philodendrons, my top constellation I think is over there too. You got to type something, throw me some hearts. When I find myself in times of trouble, vanilla orchids come to me whispering words of wisdom. Keep growing. They say, keep growing. You can make it. I'm vanilla and I'm believing in you. I was trying to think of something rhyming with vanilla and I couldn't. Let's see. If you cut long roots, does it send them into shock? It can. So any cutting you can do on a plant can be shock, right? So it's like you, as a person, you watching this. If I was to give you a little cut, right, a little cut, you are going to be like, oh my goodness, why you do that for, right? Somebody pushes you a little harder than you expected. You're going to be like, why are you doing this to me, right? The plants can't respond like animals. They can't say, moo. They can't do that, right? They can't say, oh my God, what are you doing to me? They can't do like that. So what do they do instead? They still have that shock response. That shock could be some stunted growing. It could be any number of issues related to the plant's development. And we can try to prevent that by babying the plants, as I say, which is just, giving them the nutrition extra, giving them some beautiful humidity, some hormones, some different amendments. But the biggest thing we could do, actually, I could cut one of these and propagate it. The biggest thing we can do is sometimes just let them be them and not do anything. So somebody said they wanted to see my philodendron strawberry shake. This is it. Let me get near these lights because I don't have the lights on over here. Let's see how we can make this. anymore. Oh my God, not y'all can't hear me and I was talking and doing the songs. Where did y'all go out? What was the last thing y'all heard me say? We're going to have to replay all of this. Y'all missed me doing a bunch of stuff. I know you can hear me now. Where? Oh my God, when did I go out? Not me pushing buttons. It was probably when I was over here trying to get this light on. So let's walk back over. We're going to pretend like that didn't happen. Okay? We're going to pretend. So I was over here with the lights, and I was like, let me show them this strawberry. Ooh, look at me glowing. Let me show them this strawberry shake philodendron. But I said, let me walk over here. And then I said, y'all ready for this? Dun 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 dun. Bum bum ba dum bum 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 ba dum bum 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 ba dum bum. See, y'all see how I replayed all of that? Y'all see that when you picked up the strawberry philodendron? Oh no, not even when I picked it up. We're gonna replay just that part because I picked it up and said a lot. The basic thing I said is shock. We was talking about shock. And shock can happen with plants, so I just leave them alone. So this plant is looking a little rough though. And this plant is looking like it can go through a little shock. And I could propagate this because there's like this little piece right here I could take. But the plant isn't as big as I want it to be. Why is the plant looking through shock? Why is it going through? I showed y'all I didn't like these in my reel I just did. But it's dry. It's dry. This soil is real dry. And all of those plants over there in my little greenhouse setup are dry because I haven't really been watering any of them. You missed all of that. It's grown so much. She does look a little rough. She does, don't she? So I'm going to water this real quick. And what I'm going to do is, actually I'll water this one off camera. I'm going to do a quick propagation of this philodendron, which is philodendron Jose Bueno. If I could get it out of here. A lot of my plants have grown into each other. And what do I mean by that? This pothos has taken over this pot. So let's come over here. I have one of those. Should I throw it away? Look, don't throw it away now. As much as this little baby here was smaller than this when I got it. And it was $58 bare root. And I said, I want it. The person was supposed to be sending it to me. Black Boy Pant Drawer. Oh, the soil probe. Don't throw the soil probe away. Here's why. If you already paid for it and you use it in your world of plantingness, keep it. But other than that, if you don't depend on it too much. It's usually what I tell the people. And here's why. I know these plants are dry and this soil is dry. Why? You can see through this pot. Let's see if I can get this out of here to show y'all this. I'm going to tear up all the soil trying to get this out because this is in there tight. But this soil is bone dry. That's number one. The pot is so light. Number two, you can see how off color and light the soil is. That's number three. And plus I remembered I haven't watered because I usually try to water these all weekly through like sub-irrigation. I just put a bunch of water in there and hope for the best. But I'm just going to do a quick propagation. This is y'all time to ask me any more questions y'all got before I get off of here. So I'm going to cut right here and get this whole part of this Jose Bueno up. Why am I cutting? The plant is too tall. And y'all can see this kind of burn right here, this scorch. The plants are just right up on my light. They love it so much. And we don't want them to suffer if they don't got to. So without cutting myself, I'm going to cut into this. Making sure y'all can see as I do this. Because sometimes I'll be so focused on not cutting myself, then I don't be showing y'all stuff. Hey there, Carissa. So I just did a quick propagation of this philodendron Jose Bueno. Okay, fenestrations. So this baby is just going to go in the water. I'm going to put it in here with this philodendron squaniferum. They're going to share the water. This is also the same water I had the rando philodendron I propagated in. So hopefully any of the hormones that help with rooting is still enough in this water to help speed up the process. And because this plant was so tall, I had this beautiful stake here to hold it up. The stake is just a chopstick. It's amazing what you can do with a little bit of money. I'm just gonna wrap this around here to try to stake this up. Okay, and since I have this in my hands, I'm just gonna go ahead and water this real quick, because again, I know how dry this is, and you can even see the color change as I water, hopefully. It's not showing good. You love your content, Chocolate Flower Man. You are welcome by Gigantic Salmon. Big Gigantic Salmon. We love to see it. It's not really going down. You can kind of see the soil getting darker, but it's not really sinking as much as I want it to. It's actually kind of running over the sides. So this is showing me I need to like let this soak. Because it's not going through the whole of the soil. So we'll just let that sit there. Y'all got any other questions before I get off of here? Remember, I'm a plant biologist. This is your opportunity to talk to a scientist that does the plants. And I'm here again. I repotted some plants. Those of you just coming in, we had some vanilla wisdom. Maybe I should market that. Vanilla wisdom. Telling you that you can make it. Don't listen to what the haters say. Vanilla's going to love you anyway. Repotted this propagation I had of this philodendron. And then I made a cut on this. I be yapping my head off when I see you. Oh, you probably will too, because you is a yapper. I tell you what, and nobody can beat me, but you sometimes can got me beat. And then we just put this in some water. Okay, we got the last couple of questions coming in. Best way to not kill my orchid. The best way to not kill an orchid is to kill an orchid, because if you know how you took one out, then you can learn how to do it better. So I used to overwater orchids. They don't want to be super wet, especially when they're in a media like this. This is just like peat core. You know, this isn't sphagnum moss. This is a very, moisture retaining media. In most household growing situations, they want to be in an orchid bark mix, or a chunky mix as they call it, because they don't hold water as much. So typically I tell people, learn from your mistakes. When you killed it, see what you did wrong. They don't want to be in the cold. They don't want to be in the dark. They want to be in some direct light. They want to be in a warm situation, and they want to be able to get their humidity perks off. Because like I said, I think earlier, or on TikTok, I was live on TikTok. When it comes to growing these houseplants, they are tropical plants. They want to be in a tropical situation. So you don't want to take this plant and treat it like North Carolina plants and leave it out all year, because this pothos and philodendron mix ain't going to survive. They're going to be up there with the Queen of England. Y'all remember her? And B. Arthur and the rest of the Golden Girls. The Golden Girls are going to be sitting around the table eating cheesecake with your plant if you leave these outside or you don't treat them right. So we have to treat them right, so that way the plants can say thank you for being a friend. I hope that made sense. I feel like the person who asked me that question left. Oh, no, you didn't, Gert. I was going to talk real bad about you. My rosemary, my apologies. My rosemary plant is in distress. Is that normal for this time of year? So we are in zone 8. I feel like actually you might be in zone 7B, because I'm now 8A, I think. And you're more south than I am, because that area used to be 7A, and then this area is more like 7A, 7B. Either way, this time of year, it depends on. So it's difficult for me to say like what your rosemary would be going through, because I would need to know the history, right? For example, this rosemary is in obvious distress. Doesn't even look like a rosemary, huh? This is in distress. It's been in distress. Well, it was in distress, and now this rosemary is up there with, oh my God, what's that woman's name who just passed? I loved her in Harriet the Spy. It's up there growing with them. We losing too many people too soon. I get real sad about that. People, I don't care how young or old you are. I'll be like, you got to go right now. Anywho, y'all know who I'm talking about. The actress, she was in Buffy. I want to go on with my story, but I cannot remember that person's name. Not Roberta. She was in Buffy. She was in Harriet the Spy. She was in a Ice Princess movie. She was in another movie, phenomenal actress. She passed recently, not Roberta Flack. Caucasian woman? No, nobody? It's okay, we're gonna keep going. This rosemary is in obvious distress. And because this rosemary is in obvious distress, I need to know the history. The history of this is, it sat on a heating mat. The soil mix that it's in, it was super dry. As you can see here, super duper dry. And it just would not retain moisture because rosemary don't like to stay super wet. So this was just difficult for the person keeping this to keep it alive because it just didn't retain moisture. It was a lot of just looseness in this. I could have repotted and fixed it, but I didn't. So I would need to know your situation as to like what led to you having that issue. Are you watering heavy? Is your yard getting a lot of water? Is it in an area where it's competing with other things? Or have you fertilized it? Has it ever been fertilized? What is it growing in? Back home is going to be a sandy loam. So did you add any compost in there? Is it in a pot? Is it in the ground, right? I would need to know so much to be able to say, this is why your plant is going through. Now, you, of course, have my number, so you can text me, send me pictures, and I can tell you what's up. But for the rest of you that don't, what would I do? What would you do? I would tell you to go to Cooperative Extension. Because Cooperative Extension, I talk about them like they pay me money, but you pay them money in your taxes. When you are going to Cooperative Extension, you are literally going to a thing that your taxes pay for, a service that your taxes pays for, that allows you to get some information about what's going on with your plants, any fungi, any pests, and they give a lot of other services. Some of you who may know people who are like expecting mothers or somebody who may want to learn how to cook, there's a lot of resources that Cooperative Extension gives. Okay. Question says, what does being a botanist entail and why did I get into it? That's a beautiful question. So a botanist is a plant biologist, right? And as a plant biologist, I am a person who studies the science, the biology of the plants, right? And it's different than horticulture to a certain extent. They're related but different because horticulture is plant growth, how to grow plants on a large scale, how to make plants look beautiful, right? Plant science is, this is the science behind how they grow, what we find beautiful, the history behind what we may use these plants for. And agriculture is for growing these plants on a wide scale for like food, shelter, production of something like that, right? Entertainment to a certain extent. That is what plant biology entails. So I could be a person that is like finding out the phytochemicals, the plant chemicals in a plant and finding out how to use them to like prevent malaria. That's some research going on at NC State. What plants would be best suited for these areas or that could do like phytoremediation, that could fix soils that have been through somebody's pollution situation. Phytoplant remediation, fixing, resolving. Goes into soil science, goes into some of the microbiology is now under it. Mycology is generally included, right? It's all of those things. How did I get into it? I have been a science nerd my whole life. My whole life. And while I mention a lot of things plant biologists do, I can't cover everything. Like it would take just way too exhaustive for me to cover all of it because there's so many areas and like blendings in other areas of science. Chemistry, engineering, psychology, all of it, right? But I've just been a geeky person my whole life. And from a young age, I knew I was going to be a scientist. Like I knew I was going to do something sciencey. And as I was growing up older, and I even look now, I've realized there are more plant biologists who've done something beneficial for us than George Washington Carver. His protege, Percy Julian, discovered some plant hormones that we use. Thomas Wyatt Taylor did some good work. Marie Clark Marie Clark, I'm messing up names, but there's a lot of black people who've done some phenomenal work in plants, right? In environmentalism and all of it. So I originally came in the field to try to help people with plants in a medical and a physical, mental way. And over my lifetime now of doing plants, I have learned and seen so much. I worked with a company where we used tobacco to produce vaccines. I did tissue culture at a company whereas they're using plants to produce a wood-like product that could help to save the world. There was a lot of cool things I've done with plants. Hey there, Jody. There's a lot of cool things I've done with plants. But when it comes to where I am now and doing this work of talking and teaching, I have been so blessed to be able to interact with all of you that I've met because of plants, whether it's this platform or organizations I'm a part of that does something planty, or community gardens, or you found me because I was on somebody's podcast or show, or you were just looking for black botanists. I've been able to connect with so many cool people, and it's all because of plants. So that's how I got into it. I hope that answers your question. You know, I like saying hey to people that I know are leaving, because they came in and they left. They're like, oop, and they left. So with that, if y'all don't have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and dip out. It is 6 o'clock, and I really got to go ahead and get something to eat because I haven't eaten today. I just had some coffee because I was just hype and energetic. With that being said, my dear friends, I want y'all to have a beautiful, 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 beautiful rest of your Friday and your weekend. Do something plant-centric, whether it's fixing yourself a salad or starting some seeds. If you promise to do that for me, I promise to try the same. Because I got some seeds started and I'm going to start some more. Y'all have a beautiful rest of your week, and I'll talk at y'all soon. Boop.